that going. And there we go. All right, great. So thanks for the introduction, Tracy. Appreciate that. Everything's still going good. So obviously today we're going to talk about SEO, search engine optimization. That's what the SEO stands for. And we're going to cover, what is SEO, how search engines work, and that's quite important with SEO. What are the various SEO elements? I'll talk about some tools, and then I'll quickly touch on the strategy template. And I mean, there's more in-depth stuff in the handouts that we will be passing on after this session. So SEO is extremely crucial for almost every business in the digital era today. You might have heard of it. You might have heard this a lot, but don't quite understand all the details on what it is and how it works. So hopefully today, I'll let you understand it a bit more. It's definitely a very, very strong marketing tool. Let me give you a glimpse of what businesses should use and how to use it as soon as possible. I mean, nearly 81% of retail customers and around 94% of business-to-business buyers claim to perform online searches before, buying anything. We've all done that. Google is our friend, and if we want to buy a pair of shoes, where do we go? We go Google and search for shoes, and things pop up. And that's how SEO works. From a user's perspective, from a company's perspective, it's very important. It's how your brand gets out there. It gives you a solid online presence. And if you don't have this in place or any form of it in place, you're definitely falling behind your competitors. There are many elements that make up a great SEO strategy. And business owners, you obviously need to understand what you're dealing with. Not only understand what SEO is, but what impact it could make for you in the right hands. In short, SEO, search engine optimization, can make your website and brand more visible to the public, helps you build relationships with customers, and obviously there are many, many more benefits to that, which we'll talk about today. So let's move on to the next slide. Not working manually. So the acronym SEO obviously stands for search engine optimization, which I've said. And its meaning is the practice to increase your website traffic. SEO tactics can be performed both paid and non-paid. I mean, basically non-paid or organic traffic is far better. You'll obviously get a better reach. Paid traffic is when you want to focus on doing something specific in a very short time. So there's quite a lot to do with this incredible marketing tool. Don't think SEO is all about technical. It's not. Most of the time SEO, you'll have to take care of your audience first. So how do you talk to them? How do you respond to them? SEO, in fact, is actually understanding what and how people are searching for you online. It's all about knowing the questions and answers customers put out there when they're searching for whatever you're offering, and then creating content that attracts those people. It is a meticulous progress of understanding both what people's mind and their systems practice. If you're doing it well, you will eventually create a good connection with your potential customers to convince them to buy from you and not your competitor. An SEO strategy consists of both on-page and off-page SEO, so on your website and off your website. On-page SEO means you create content that includes high-value keywords and optimize it to make or match the requirements of the search engine or the people looking for you in Google. You'll have to pay close attention to things like title tags, alt tags, meta descriptions, URL, and keyword placement. And this has got to do with how your blog, for example, is laid out, how your images are labeled. So one thing that people don't know about Google, if you've got a potential client that is blind, for example, and when they search in Google, they obviously search a little bit different to the way you and I would by typing stuff in. If they come across an image, if they click on that image and you have got that image labeled as image5.png, that image5.png is read back to that blind person. So they have no idea what that image is about. But if you label it correctly to say, this is a pink shoe from my company's name, blah, 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 and it costs so much, that person hears that. It gets read back to them. So it's important that is what an alt tag is on an image. So every image you use on your website, you need to give it a description, you need to give it a title, so that people out there can, find it. And I'm just using blind people as an example. If people are searching for pictures of pink LA bloomers, I don't know if anybody knows what those were in the back in the day, when that picture comes up in a Google search, usually there's a description under the picture. If you don't have a description, people are going to move on to the next picture that actually does. So it makes a big difference. So off-page SEO is exactly, like its name is, which means you have to link a lot of content to other content on and off your website. It's also called a backlink. And this helps drive traffic and increase your rankings. Off-page SEO can be achieved by prompting your web page content on other communication platforms. So you've just posted a new blog. You can share that link on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, social media, wherever, YouTube. That gives you a backlink back to your website. Backlinks are very important. You inherit the other websites' strength and value and ranking in a Google search. We'll get into that a little bit more as we move along. So if you haven't known, SEO is probably the only marketing channel that pays its dividends over time. With the right setup, a piece of content can snowball and attract greater traffic over time. Meanwhile, with advertising, you'll have to fund your budget according to maintain the results. So SEO will, it'll cost, if you're doing it on your own, it's not going to cost you anything. It just costs you time. Obviously, if you're paying somebody to do it, there's a cost, but the costs aren't as high. If you're planning to run, for example, pay-per-click adverts on Google, if you haven't got an SEO strategy, your Google ads are going to cost you way more money than if you had an SEO strategy in place. Moreover, businesses of all markets are craving online customers' attention. We know this. Everybody's moving digital after COVID. I mean, it's the way to go. Everybody's kind of putting their platforms online. And they'll do anything to kind of boost their results instantly. This means spending millions on advertising. However, if you opt for a much more solid long-term solution, as I discussed, then SEO is definitely your thing. Almost half of retailers confirm that customers like to search online, even if they do end up buying, from their store. So therefore, brands need to pay attention to SEO to ensure the visibility and so much more. Let's talk about visibility and rankings. One of the most obvious functions of SEO is to boost your visibility online and increase your exposure, and making it much simpler and easier for your customers to find your business online. You're enhancing your chance by doing this in increasing your profits. More people find your website online, lead to a higher ranking on SERP, search engine results page. When you type in at Google, whatever you're looking for, the first 3 or 4 things you find is an ad. Anything below that is organic, the SERP, search engine results. If you're doing really well in your SEO, you'll obviously land on the first page or the first 3 pages. That's where people stop searching for results in their searches. And you know that more than 25% of web users never even scroll past the first page. So if you're not on the first page, you are losing out a lot of people that is buying. So one lead obviously leads to another, and good SEO effort can bring you so many potential customers. Let's talk about web traffic. Visibility is closely related to your website traffic. It's one of those key goals for SEO. Traffic to your website will increase once your ranking and visibility gets higher from a Google perspective. So if you want the desired amount of visitors flocking to your site, you'll have to do a really good job on SEO. Thus, the ideal rankings to aim for is the top 5 position, since 75% of the clicks go here first. So after the adverts, if you could rank in the top 5 spots, you're doing a really, really fantastic job. No pressure here. But the sooner you start working on SEO for your website, the better. obviously, and keep it in mind that SEO is a long journey, so don't expect results overnight. Talking about authority. This is a new concept in SEO, but many are focusing on it due to its importance to search engines. Having authority means your website is trustworthy, it provides quality content, and is relevant to what users are looking for. The more authority your web page has, the higher your ranking, and the more traffic it could attract to your website. When I say SEO is a journey, I really mean it, since everything is connected and affecting each other. So you have to talk about creating a better visitor experience. That's on your website. So this is what I said earlier. SEO is not all about the technical things. Great SEO practice will improve the usability of your website, creating a much better user's experience. As I mentioned earlier with the image, if you've got the right text in the image, you will reach a different audience. To achieve, obviously, a great SEO ranking, you need to have really good content that meets all the requirements. And you'll have to do a bit of work around figuring out who your customers are and who you'd like to sell to. The responsive design, the loading speed of your website, and many other features obviously affect the visitor's experience. Once you've made all of it, you'll improve the overall experience of users, allow them to visit from a browser at any time, from any browser, actually, from a phone, from a tablet. And you see how this kind of works, how the connection works with SEO, and the visitors are more satisfied with your website experience, the bigger the chance they will choose your brand over any other competitors. So having a great looking website, which is easy to use and easy to navigate, is very, very, very important as part of the SEO strategy. And at the end of the day, we're going to talk about growth. This is what everybody wants, and we make every marketing effort must lead to some sort of growth and obviously better revenues. This is one of the main reasons why SEO is essential for all business. Since it helps improve customer experience, it increases trust, draws more potential customers to your site, and it benefits your conversion rate. This means making more sales, getting more customers, and your business becomes visible online. And then last but not least, obviously, as I've mentioned earlier, you need to have patience. This is not something that will work overnight. Generally, when we help customers with an SEO journey, we recommend at least seeing it through for the first 6 months. After the first 6 months, we generally have a few, 25% at minimum of the keywords on the first page. So be patient. It will happen. So what makes SEO a top producing marketing channel? SEO is more cost effective. It is one of the most cost effective marketing strategies with the highest return on investment. Due to its inbound nature, SEO helps businesses save much more money on customer acquisition costs than outbound strategies like cold calling. Since SEO targets users who are actively looking for your products and services online, the traffic resulting from SEO is more qualified than any other marketing strategies. This results in more conversions and even more cost savings. SEO is agile. It can easily be adapted to the market changes and the volatility. SEO is virtually recession-proof. So, people are always using online. As their thinking and searching changes, you can change with it, and you can see when this is happening quite easily. For example, in a recession, or even a non-recession for that matter, the primary goal of any business marketing strategy is to make a connection with a potential prospect, which means you want to be where the potential customer is. Shoppers will always search online to find information about the products and services despite economic and market changes. No matter what the global scenario, SEO will be an impactful marketing channel. SEO is measurable and trackable. So a large amount of data can be tracked these days online. I mean, back in the day when you used to stick a billboard up on the road, you never knew how many people actually drove past it and saw it. With SEO and anything you do digitally, there are so many ways of measuring and tracking quantifiable results, meaning it's easy to prove your return on investment. You can track nearly every aspect of your SEO strategy, like your rankings, your traffic, your conversions, your demographic information, male, female, age, and other individual engagement metrics. So For e-commerce sites, SEO analytics shows which path users take to complete the sale, where they're actually coming from, which keywords they're using or searching for, and which is being found before they purchase. For non-e-commerce sites, so normal websites, you can attribute values to your lead conversions. So, for example, did they arrive at the contact us form? Did they fill it in? Did they hit the button like submit or contact me now or the likes? So these comprehensive analytics not only allow you to calculate the value of your SEO strategy, but also provide insight into the best way to grow your business in every way and adapt your marketing from an SEO perspective. SEO is sticky. So SEO gives brands a lot of visibility like billboards, but it's trackable. Your business could get ranked for many variations of keywords that are relevant to your target market's searcher's intent. This gives your company thousands of opportunities to be repetitively brand exposed, in its finest form. Simply put, the more keywords you rank on, the more people will see your brand. So this translates to a more affordable version of a long-term billboard. I mean, you can actually track the amount of eyes that see you, and if anything comes from your online digital billboard rather than something outside. Additionally, SEO pairs well with other marketing channels, especially digital paid media, so pay-per-click, where you can remarket to your visitors, remain top of mind, further increase SEO stickiness, the factor. So as I mentioned earlier, if you're planning to run a Google ad, here's an example. If you just go out and run an advert without any SEO or any form of SEO marketing, your pay-per-click could be anything from around 15 Rand in a South African market. If you have got a really strong, robust SEO strategy and you're already ranking on the top 25% of a SERP page, and you run a Google ad or a pay-per-click ad, that cost per click could potentially drop to less than R1. So it's very important to start with an SEO strategy if you're planning to run adverts. So on that note, talk about growing. The best SEO strategies, they compound over time. So not only does SEO provide the opportunity to fill up more SERP real estate with branding and keyword rankings, but a comprehensive SEO strategy will allow your website to rank on multiple search engines and for multiple search queries with little additional effort or cost. So over time, SEO can create a significant resource for impressions, traffic, click volumes, customers, revenue, and profit. Also with SEO, you can expand your ongoing overall reach exponentially with a single piece of content. Although paid search may have better targeting in some cases, nothing can compete with the longevity and high ROI that a sophisticated SEO strategy can provide. Let's talk some numbers here. Give you an idea of what stats are out there from a business perspective. 53% is the percentage of all trackable website traffic that comes from organic search. 32% is the average organic click-through rate the first Google desktop search results gets. 91.75% total worldwide search engine market share Google currently holds. So, and in South Africa, that percentage is a little bit higher. Everybody you talk to and everybody that does any form of searching, the first place they go to is google.co.za or google.com to start any kind of purchase, if you like. 90.63% is the percentage of pages that get no organic search traffic from Google. 50.3% of all browser-based searches on google.com has resulted in 0 clicks. So, as it says there, nearly 1 in 3 searches are done on mobile. So what does that say? Your website needs to be mobile friendly. So let's talk about local search. Nearly 1 in 3 of mobile search results are location based. So if you had to do a search locally, for example, for a pizza place near me, people do that on Google. It brings up a map and you can see all the pizza places in your vicinity. If you had to do the same thing in London or New York or Italy, Rome, the results pop up on a map in your vicinity. So mobile friendliness on your website, very, very, very important. Getting your SEO right from a Google perspective, people on mobile devices will see a lot easier, a lot quicker. Nearly 2 in 3 our smartphone users are more likely to purchase from companies whose mobile sites or apps customize information to their location. About 45% of global shoppers buy online and then pick it up in a store. More than 55% of shoppers who say they use online video will actually shop in a store. 90% of consumers who use the internet to find local businesses in the last year. 91% of consumers said that positive reviews made them more likely to use a business. So if you've got your Google My Business set up online, it gives you a free link that says that you can send out to your customers after you've made a sale. Please rank us. And it literally takes them 5 seconds to give you a star rating and maybe a minute to give you a written review. Very important. It's free of charge, and it has so much value in the long run. So the average time a consumer spends reading reviews before making a decision is about 13.5 minutes. Consumers who trust online reviews as much as recommendations from family and friends are around 76%. Does this make sense? Any questions so far?
There are 2 questions in the chat box, Renato. Philip, first, Lisa has said, can you do well without paying for Google Ads?
Yes, absolutely. Just as I mentioned, it is a long-term plan with SEO, not a short-term plan. So don't expect to have 1 million views like the minute you start with an SEO plan. If your SEO is strong, you could potentially reach that 1 million views in a year, and it just costs you time.
Thank you. And Philip has asked, are there viable alternatives to Google in terms of accuracy and directness? Can your SEO remove the need for Google, or is that way too complex?
So you've got to think about the market you're in, Philip. In South Africa, like more than 97% of people in South Africa use Google to search. So, I mean, to exclude that is going to limit your scalability and your reach. There are alternatives, and I'll show you some of them shortly. But if you're just doing SEO, you shouldn't worry about the browser or the search engine. If your SEO is done well, you'll reach out on all platforms. Cool. I think this is the second last numbers page we're going to talk about. Like 53% of internet users worldwide operate on mobile and tablets, 47% on desktop. So when you're planning your website, keep this in mind. I mean, nowadays, if you're running a WordPress website, it comes with mobile friendliness built in. But if you've got somebody building a website from scratch that's using any other coding method like PHP, HTML, tell them you absolutely have to have a mobile friendly website. People who use their phone in the I want to buy moments is around 65%. The average number of words in a typical search query is around 3. So when you are reviewing keywords, don't just go and type one word like shoes or t-shirts or services. Think about how you would search for your product, whatever it is. So if I mentioned earlier, LA Bloomers, back in the day, we used to have a brand called LA Gear. They had LA Bloomers was one of their models or products, and you used to get them in different colors. So if a lady was looking for pink LA bloomers. Those are the, you got to put those words together to form a keyword, because that's what people are going to search for. And the more words you have that match that search, obviously the more you're going to show up. So one word keywords, are useful, but they're not the be all and end all. You should increase the size of your keywords when you're doing research. Let's move along. This has gone blank. No, that's not right. Hidden. Okay, cool. All my unhidden pages are back. Sorry about this. The presentation's all messed up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second and try to fix that. Sorry about this.
Philip?
Let's see. Okay. My bad.
Philip, can you hear me? Is everyone still online?
Yeah, I'm here. You're online.
Yeah, I'm good. We just had a problem at the office, so looks like a number of people have got thrown out.
Oh gosh.
Renato?
I'm still
Yes.
here too.
Okay, so we have had a technical problem at the office with the power, but most of us are still online.
Okay, great. Sorry about that glitch. I've got two presentations, and one was working and the other one was the one I was supposed to be showing you. So the next slide we have is, let's talk about how search engines work. This is a little bit technical, but I'm going to try and dumb it down into layman's terms so you can kind of better understand how these things, how they work. So what are search engines? Search engines are a find and rank internet content to answer a user's query. Every search engine basically has two major parts. Doesn't matter what it is, if it's Google, Yahoo, Yandex, whoever it is. They have a search index and they have an algorithm. Obviously, everybody's algorithm is a little bit different. So let's think of the index as a digital library full of web content. The algorithm is the computer program that ranks the content in the library by relevance to the user's search query. Here are some of the most common search engines in the world. So, Philip, to your question, Google is not the only place. You can use Google from an ad perspective, and you can run ads on Google. And you can do the same with any one of these other search engines. Lydia, if your website's already built, is it hard to build in SEO? This is a question on the chat. Absolutely not. SEO should be part of building the website. If it's not, it's back to what I said earlier. You need to go and review all your images. You need to have a look at the content. And if you've got tools like Search Console by Google, as an example, you can run that on your web page, and it'll come back with recommendations on what to change on your website, what it's missing, if a page doesn't have headings, if a page doesn't have a meta title, and that can be easily rectified if your website's already built. So SEO can start at any point, at a half-built website, or a brand new website, or even with a website that's been running for a while. Where am I? Yeah. So here's a bit of a ranking on some of the search engines out there, who uses images for a search perspective, videos, health. I'm sure you've seen a lot of these, but there's more. There are literally tens up to hundreds of different kinds of search engines, and they are not what you kind of think of normally, but these are here. And when you get the presentation and the handouts, you're more than welcome to go and do a bit of research on each one of those. So let's talk about the fundamentals of search. Search engines work by crawling, indexing, and ranking. Web crawlers or spiders, they crawl sitemaps that website owners provide the search engine. So like I said, Search Console, as an example from Google, you can connect it up to, and it's free. It's a free tool that Google offers. If you have a Google account, a Gmail account, those tools are available. You can plug that into your website. It then crawls, it sends a spider to your website, crawls all your sitemaps, crawls all your pages that you obviously provide the search engine. It will come back and give you some advice. So as these spiders crawl the pages, they discover links, which they obviously follow to the new pages and whatever sites those links go to. Each time they find a new page, they add it to their index or their library, if you like. And then the search algorithm ranks the content based on signals like keywords and site freshness. And don't worry, I'll discuss that in a little bit more as part of the search process in more detail. So that, in a nutshell, how a search engine works. So obviously, the spider crawls, your website's indexed, it is then ranked. When somebody searches for what you offer, those three things are used to present information on the search engine result page. Let's dig into the crawling aspect. So during crawling, spiders scour the internet for information. They do this by jumping from page to page using the links that are already in the page. They identify which links to follow based on the tags such as href, which is a reference tag, and the src, which are sources tag. As they move, they determine the relationship between the different pages of the site, which helps the search engine or the search index, and then rank the various pages. That's why it's crucial to have a logical website hierarchy and internal links to every page. So back to the visitor's experience, if it's easy to go buy a product, you can on your website determine, how many clicks it takes for somebody to find a product, put it in a basket, pay for it. So this is what the spider also crawls, and then obviously ranks on how easy it is for a user to do the same. When we get to indexing, so as we mentioned, the spider visits, it crawls your page. Once the spiders are finished crawling, a bot renders the page the way your browser would display it. So this bot, depending on the search engine, obviously looks at the page differently. So if your page is mobile friendly, it renders it that way. If it's tablet friendly, it renders it that way. You won't see this. The user won't see this. This happens in the background. And you can basically call this the way the bot sees the page. If it sees the page in each of those formats, it indexes, it sorts the images, the text, and the keywords to understand what the page is about, and then it then sends the information to be stored in the index. And each index contains a catalog of every entry and every word from every web page it has crawled. So once that process is complete, it goes through a ranking process. So search engines finally sort through all the indexed search algorithms to find the relevant results for users and obviously their search queries. The algorithm is really a list of rules that determine the best results based on numerous quality factors the search engine designates. And obviously this is different between Google and Yahoo, and they've each got their own little way of doing things. These things also include things like backlinks, the backlink quality, and the mobile friendliness of your website. And obviously I'll touch on that a little bit more later. So what do search engines want? Before we dig further into the finer details of search engine mechanisms, it's important to remember the search engine's end goal every search engine wants to meet the needs of its audience, so people that are out there looking for your products. With Google, that means providing accurate answers that help their users solve problems or gain information. Other search engines, like the one within Amazon, for example, wants to show users what they can buy. Keeping the search engine's goal in mind helps you to optimize your content. So this goes back to your question, Philip. Depending on which search engine you want to use, and there are many, you've got to figure out their goals and on how they want to present information to their visitors. And then obviously they can provide answers on products that the search engine users hope to find. So let's talk about a web crawler. So what is a web crawler and how does it work? I gave you a brief overview of what the crawler does, but how it does that exactly is, web crawlers are called spiders because they crawl the web, the World Wide Web. Put that into a picture, as you can see. Unlike the physical world, though, spiders on the internet don't spin silk threads. Instead, they travel from link to link, thereby showing the relationship between different pages. Each time they find a new page, they read the content's code. The highest ranking content on Google and other search engines have code that the spiders can easily read. Content creators do this by paying attention to each of the requirements in SEO to optimize, obviously, on the search engine. So that is back to my image, this explanation, giving the image a title, giving it a description, and placing it in the right place on your website. It is also important to remember that humans don't run crawlers or spiders. It's done automatically. These are autonomous programs that use given rules to decide what belongs in a search engine's index and what doesn't. A site selling illegal substances, for example, will never be added to the index. What is indexing? This is self-explanatory, but I'll dig into it. So if your spider or crawler determines they should add your site to the index, the search engine catalogs the web page and it's given an identity tag. This works obviously just like a library. When a librarian receives a new copy of a book, they determine where it belongs, whether it's in fiction, non-fiction, or any other section. In the same way, search engines label web content so that it can be accessed easily and readily. When you type in a search query like, what is SEO? The search engine can pull the most relevant content in a matter of seconds. Of course, that's probably more than one legitimate link for the question like that. All sorts of sites get listed, beginner guides to SEO, etc. So Google and other search engines have to rank the content as well, which we'll talk about in a little bit more detail later. So what gets indexed? And how do search engines build their index? Before we talk about the ranking, let's explore indexing a little further. According to Google, everything begins with a list of known URLs. URLs that receive crawlers, spiders, that process and render the web page, then indexing occurs. So where do the URLs come from initially? Well, Google uses 3 techniques to find URLs to crawl. Backlinks, so from your site to another or from another site to yours. Sitemaps, which you can get your web developer to create for you, or it can be created automatically. And URL submissions. I mentioned Search Console, Google Search Console previously. If you create a new blog, obviously once you post it, it gets its own link on the back of your website. You can then go to Google Search Console and force that spider or crawler to read that URL. This is how you submit a URL, to Google Search Console, for example, and tell Google, read it. There's something new here. Otherwise, it might take a couple of days for Google to eventually find that new URL, or whichever search engine to find that new URL. So you can force them to see new things, which is obviously you want the visitors sooner rather than later. So from backlinks, Google and other search engines already have a massive index of websites. Anytime one of these sites adds a new link to a new website, the crawler will follow it. And this is called the backlink. Sitemaps are precisely what they sound like. It's a map of your website. They list all the essential pages on a site hierarchical order. Website owners and submit sitemaps to Google or any other browser or search engine, which may help their site attract crawlers faster. And then, as I mentioned, URL search submissions is when you add it up and you send it on your own to get that crawler in to your website a lot faster. So why do some pages show up higher than others? So in search results, why is your page found at the bottom of the page or on page 10 and your closest competitor is showing up on page 1? So now that you have a good understanding how crawling and indexing kind of works, it's time to talk about the ranking. Rankings determine, why some pages show up higher than others in search results. Search engines use algorithms to rank your content, and each algorithm on each search engine is obviously different. Google's algorithm is by far the most influential. This is why we focus on it. No one knows exactly how Google's algorithm ranks content. They are famous for having over 200 ranking factors, and that's not a single expert. There's not a single expert out there that can name all of them. However, there are some key factors we're sure of. We'll discuss these below. So number one is backlinks. According to Andre Lipatz, search quality senior strategist at Google, the two biggest factors for ranking are content and links pointing back to your site. Everyone already knows that content is king. That's been a rule in content marketing since day one. Fewer people pay attention to the second half of Andre's statement. Backlinks matter too. Google's algorithm ranks pages by the quality and quantity of backlinks to that page. For more websites that link back to your site as a source of information, the higher your site will rank in Google search results. But it's not simply a matter of quantity, quality matters too. If an authoritative site, like let's say, for example, the New York Times, posts an article that links to your blog will rank higher in search results, even if you don't have many other backlinks. So clearly, not all backlinks are equal. Link authority and link relevance are important to consider. Let's zoom into those two factors a little bit. So let's talk about link authority. As in our New York Times example, backlinks from authoritative pages means more than backlinks from little-known websites. But what determines this link authority? Authoritative pages have the most backlinks. This makes sense if you think of backlinks like a boat. Content creators like to link back to the source they find credible, essentially voting for them. So pages with the most backlinks, or votes, if you like, gain authority and rank higher. And if an authoritative page backlinks to your site, you climb the rankings as well. You kind of inherit the authority. Link relevance is also crucial. If you have a website that sells luxury seats, you want backlinks from sites that review bed linens. Backlinks from a dentist blog or restaurant, website won't help you with your rankings in the same way. That make sense? So let's talk about relevance. Backlinks from relevant and authoritative websites are crucial, but that's not the only key factor in Google rankings. Google also determines page relevance. For instance, let's say you search for apple price, South Africa, and Google. Instead of showing results for the fruit of the same name, Google understands that it's more relevant to show results related to Apple Inc. Apple that sells laptops and phones and things. To determine relevance, Google also uses keywords as well as anonymized data from user interactions. That's what helps them determine what users are trying to find. So if you've ever been onto a website, I'm sure we've all experienced this. There's a little pop-up somewhere on the window once you land on the website saying, this website uses cookies. Those cookies are placed on your machine, and it adds to your kind of profile, your digital profile or footprint. And Google uses this. It tracks, how many cookies are placed from their ranked pages. So when you do a search for things, it kind of knows, what you're kind of looking for. It understands. I'm sure you've seen adverts pop up on, like if you're playing a game or if you're visiting a website, or if you're viewing a video, ads pop up that are relevant to you mostly, because Google manages this by using a knowledge graph which maps your interactions to determine your search intent. So if you write a blog article about deforestation in the Amazon rainforest, for example, Google knows not to show to someone that types plant food in Amazon. Amazon is where they want to buy it from. It's not the rainforest they're referring to. However, your article might show up when someone types deforestation and jungle habitats, even though the article doesn't have keywords that directly match, the user's query. So that's relevance. Freshness, obviously, this will speak for itself. Freshness is an example of a query-dependent ranking factor. That means it matters with some queries and not with others. For a query like latest news on Canada immigration, Google will rank newly published or recently updated content higher. For a query like chicken soup recipe, though, freshness doesn't really matter. Google may still show recently updated websites first, but it knows the chicken soup recipes aren't changing rapidly. So freshness for that query, it doesn't have much of an effect on the rankings. Let's talk about topic authority. A website that shows its authority on a topic will rank higher, in search queries surrounding that topic. Let's say a user searches for Exora Care. If you have a website devoted to gardening, your site will rank higher because you have a topical authority and relevance. Another generic website, even with one with a lot of authority, will rank lower than your site because you've shown on your site that it has authority on the topic. Specifically, for small niche sites, using topic authority is a great strategy to beat some of the larger, more authoritative sites in Google rankings. This is very, very, very important. Page speed. Again, this is a free tool that Google offers. It's called Page Speed Insights. There's a link in the presentation. You can test your website. No one likes waiting for a page to load. In fact, if a page lags, most users will close out of it and try the next search result instead. Google knows this. So if they've added page speed as a ranking, and they did this in 2010, so it's part of your ranking and authority. It's not that a website needs to be lightning fast to rank on Google, but it can be exceptionally slow. If a page has slow loading, enough to impede the user's experience, your rankings will fall through the ground. Shaving a millisecond off loading time on a decently fast page, though, won't push you to the top of the search results. So as I said, you can use Google's Page Speed Insight, and it's a free tool, to check the speed of your site. It will let you know, where there's a lag, where it's coming from, what you can do to help fix the problem. And there's an example in all the suggestions that they offer in their report. So each of those things under opportunity, you can click on expand. If you look next to the 1.96 seconds, there's a little drop down pointer. If you click on that, it explains to you where the problem is and how you can fix it. Let's remember the free tool. And then obviously, the one thing that's very important is mobile friendliness. As I mentioned right in the beginning, a big chunk of people are searching for things on their phone, specifically that are location based. So if your website is mobile friendly, it will be presented. Well over half of all searches come from a mobile device. This is probably why Google added the mobile friendliness to its ranking factors in 2015. In 2019, Google expanded the mobile friendliness ranking factor to apply to desktop searches as well. They call this mobile friendly first indexing. Essentially, Google uses the mobile version of your site for indexing and ranking over the desktop version. Google provides a mobile friendly test tool, which is also linked in here. So you can kind of see how mobile friendly your site is. Alternatively, you can use a mobile friendly usability report found in Google Search Console, another free tool. It will also help you determine, if your web page is mobile friendly or not. And it will explain to you how you can potentially fix it. talk about search as a fundamental. So now you've got a good idea of how crawling, indexing, and ranking works. But this doesn't tell us everything that happens, when a search is performed. How does the algorithm actually work? Let's see if I can try and explain this to you. Each time a user types in a search, the search engine has to do three things: determine your intent or their intent, match relevant pages to that intent, and apply localization factors. To determine intent, search engines use an advanced language model that can break queries into keyword chunks and identify synonyms. That way, if a user types in blue shirts on sale, the search engine will also show shirts for sale that are labeled as light blue, navy blue, or even cobalt blue, because all of these are synonyms of blue. Google then uses ranking factors we discussed above to provide the most relevant content. Finally, Google will apply localized factors to the search. It will use the user's location, search history, and even their search settings to ensure it provides the most relevant results. The tough part, the technical part. How search algorithms work. All of the work above is taken care, of by algorithms, and each search engine has their own flavor of it. There's not a person pulling relevant pages out of your, out of the ether for each of your queries. It's actually a computer program. Really, it's a series of computer programs that look at several factors like freshness and relevance. They then rank those factors based on the searcher's intent. So if someone's searching for the latest news, freshness will be weighted heavily. If a person searches for chicken soup recipe, as I mentioned earlier, the freshness doesn't really matter as much. Topical authority is relevant, will likely be have a more significant factor there. So let's talk about the meaning of your query. Google is very good at determining search intent or the meaning of your query. Their advanced language models can figure out lousy spelling. Beyond that, Google uses the latest in natural language understanding it to determine the user's search's intent. If you type in Instant Pot Your Mini, Google tries to establish what you're trying to do. If you're trying to buy the product, or if you're looking to find one that's available in a store near you, perhaps you're looking for articles on how to use it. As you can see in the screenshot, it gives results for both if you type a generic query. Google's algorithms figure this out by using clues a user provides. They look for keywords like review or price, which is not there, to determine what the user actually wants to see. They also use the searcher's location and search history. The relevance of web pages from the user's intent, Google can determine which pages will be most relevant. If the searcher typed in something like best Mexican food near me, Google will show businesses near the searcher's geographic location that serve Mexican food. There's relevance. The quality of your content. Google pays special attention to this, the quality of your content. It tries to list the most reliable websites first, which is where backlinks come into play. If you search for New York things to do and you're in New York, the first result from CN Traveler, Condé Nast, a trusted high authority source for travel content. Google also uses spam algorithms to make sure the website that uses deceptive or manipulative tactics don't rank. So that's why following Google's webmaster guidelines is a must for any content creator. Again, the link to the guidelines is actually in this presentation. Talk about usability of web pages. If you type in directions to Las Vegas, like in the example, you probably want a map to your current location, to, for example, the Vegas Strip. Google knows that you will attempt, and Google knows your intent and will obviously provide that. Their goal is to give users useful content, not content that simply matches the keyword. So if you write a blog on the best scenic routes through Las Vegas, it probably won't show up in search results for the example query that we've got it here. It may show up though if someone searched road trip planning in Las Vegas. Aren't you moving? So, as mentioned, search engine use localized factors to provide relevant results. That's why you might see different results if you search the same query on your phone and a friend's desktop. Let's look at the main Google factors that get used to personalize search results. So location, language, search history. Obviously, certain searches are clearly location dependent, like Mexican food near me. But even in the case of non-location dependent search, users, the user's geographic location changes, and obviously that will change the results that get populated on your search. If you're in Johannesburg and you type in rugby, Google will populate results related to the Lions. But if you're in Durban, you'll see information about the Sharks. Your language, Google isn't going to show you a page written in English if a user types in a query for French or Portuguese. It will always provide the results in the language of the query. Your history, obviously Google uses this to determine ranked results. If a user types, for example, best cat litter box and clicks on the third link, the next time they search for the same thing, that link may appear first or second instead. Presenting results in a helpful way. So Google's goal and the goal of all search engines is to present useful results. They do this using algorithms that are constantly evolving. What shows up on the top spot one day might move to the 6th or 7th the next. It all depends on the factors I've discussed above, like freshness, relevance, and quality of content. It is important to remember a search engine's goal when working on your content, always. If you want to help them serve, if you want to help to serve your customers, you end up with more site traffic. So how do these search engines make money? There's a question from Lisa. I'm just going to quickly answer. What does it mean when a website says not secure when entering the site? So there is a thing called an SSL certificate, which is basically like a firewall, if you like. Put it simply, it secures your website. If a website doesn't have that, that message comes up. So if you are looking to buy something on somebody's website and it doesn't have a SSL certificate, I would suggest avoiding that, rather going to the store. Because if without the SSL certificate, any transaction you make, any details that you provide is basically open for people to steal and reuse illegally, if you like. Cool. So last thing, how do search engines make their money? So for you and me to use as individuals, it's free. So I'm sure people ask, how do they make money? And the simple answer is paid advertising. If you've done a search on Google before, the first few results that pop up usually have a little ad sign in the top left corner of the result. If you click on that, obviously whoever's paying for that ad will pay Google for that click, or however they've set up the ad. If that ad is, for people to see, every time that ad is presented on a site, that company pays for that ad to be presented, to be visible. So that's how pay-per-click works, and that's how, for example, Google gets paid. And obviously their ads will always be shown up first, and then organic results below that. Let's talk about SEO elements, the things that you need to focus on when you're planning your website, your content, putting images on your website. So let's start with keywords. Keywords are no longer the only SEO technique that matters, but that doesn't mean they're not crucial when it comes to SEO. The main difference is that keywords today need to be well researched and carefully chosen. And you can do that with Google Keyword Research. then it should be used wisely in your content to be effective. So don't fill your content with just the keywords. Google and its algorithms can actually read that and read that it's potentially nonsensical and will rate that page very badly or the content very badly. Keywords are phrases or words that potential customers use to find content online, which is literally anything they want. Brands can also use these keywords to connect with potential clients. And when searching for keywords, it is important to focus on the ones with high search results, low competition. Remember to have a good combination of short tail keywords and long tail keywords, and as well as local keywords. So I touched on this a little bit earlier. Short tail keywords is like one word, back to LA Bloomers. So LA gear would be a short tail keyword. A long tail keyword would be pink LA gear, LA Bloomers in Johannesburg. And that would be obviously the location, the local keywords that are used in Johannesburg. And you can use these keywords to modify all your headings, your URLs, and any other elements, SEO elements on your page. Content. Content is an important part of SEO, obviously, as it is how you reach and engage your audience. For example, if you own a plant nursery and want to increase your visibility, there are several blogs you can post about gardening, choosing the right types of plants, growing tips, and obviously there's more to that. But then if a potential customer wants to buy a plant, you would be the first nursery that comes to mind. Today's content should be, instructive, but also interesting, relevant, needs to be engaging and shareable. Content comes in various forms, including, web page content, videos, blogs, infographics, podcasts, white papers and ebooks, social media posts, and local listings. Let's talk about off-page SEO. So obviously this includes external optimization practices that take place outside of your website rather than on your website. The most important techniques for off-page SEO is creating backlinks. As high quality backlinks, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, your website from external websites tell search engines that your website is valuable and of high quality, and this will help generate authority. When it comes to creating backlinks, there's a wide variety of methods. Some of these best practices include blogging guests, so getting somebody else to blog about you on their website and link it back to your website, widely shared infographics, mentioning influencers in content, and that could be a hashtag, an at, or an email address, then a link to their website. And of course, these are very few other practices, but we've tested and seen that these obviously have a greater impact over time. Location or local SEO. Obviously, as more and more people are starting to use mobile devices in search, it's impossible to deny the importance of local SEO. So in Joburg, in Houghton, near me, as you can see, nearly 51% of all searches are made on mobile devices like smartphones or tablets. I mentioned that earlier. Users are really engaging in local content, and it's normal to search for things at a specific location. Additionally, besides local keywords, businesses can claim directory listings, creating content, location-specific pages for your website. And don't forget to create pages of your business on Google Maps. It's free. Google Business, Google Maps. This will make it much easier for people to find you. Google My Business it's a free tool. Bing has something similar where you can put your business on the map, putting in details like phone numbers, addresses, website addresses, all that kind of stuff that people on mobile could just tap on, and it'll automatically open maps and give them directions to your premises, or tap on the phone number and it'll start making a phone call to obviously contact you. That's the easiest and simplest way to start a local SEO strategy. What are the elements of search engine marketing? So SEM stands for search engine marketing, and refers to paid marketing activities. This includes, native ads, Google AdWords, social media ads, pay-per-click in general, Google shopping ads, display ads, and more. While SEM, search engine marketing, is generally not an important part of a comprehensive SEO strategy, it has its place because it can help you reach new and specific audiences. The final thoughts on SEO. As you can see, SEO is a very complex endeavor. It involves many different techniques, tactics, and best practices. These best practices continue to evolve as consumer and web users, their behaviors change, new technologies emerge, and search engines change the algorithms. That said, SEO is still of the utmost importance to any business that wants to be visible online digitally. So your efforts are absolutely worth it. SEO can help your business, achieve several goals, including brand awareness, traffic to your website, conversions, so new customers, help your customer experience, and so much more. So this is why it's important for digital marketers to have a solid understanding of what SEO is and how to achieve your goals. So with part of the handouts, I also will talk about some of the tools. So SEO is constantly improving the best practices and are always being updated. SEO is the only channel that can pay dividends over time. There are precise ways to achieve SEO goals and measurable. However, as the digital world evolves every day, you must always keep up, with these changes, keep up to date with your website. Google and other search engines also improve their algorithm on a yearly, even monthly basis. So if you're not proactive, the changes, your brand will obviously fall behind and potentially too far to come back. The main goal of SEO is to keep your business in the competition, and the competition requires regular updates. You'll have to keep up with it to obviously achieve the best results. SEO is relatively cheap and cost effective. Of course, it will cost you some money if you hire somebody to help you set it up and get it going. But looking at the bigger picture, doesn't everything cost money? You need to invest first, obviously. SEO, especially in the long term, SEO targeting is absolutely, and it will pay off, obviously, in the long run. Other marketing efforts could be the cost, but this is the real deal investment for your business. Trust me, if it will only get better, just like any investment, equity in life over time. So SEO obviously brings new opportunities to light. SEO allows the business to attract potential customers more effectively at a lower cost than any other marketing tool. It will leverage new opportunities to your brand, whether it's an email subscription or a purchase order. By offering high quality SEO, you're giving people opportunities to discover and explore your brand without searching for it. SEO actually is a give and take relationship. You give out your content, graphics, and effort to receive sales, new customers, and everything needed for business growth. SEO is always going to be here. Consumers will always want products and always want to look for services online. They will always search online for brands, and they will always look for the most cost-effective way to do that. Although the role and strategy for SEO might change over time, it will always be available online. By being around for years, nowadays SEO is creating a foundation for the future of the digital world, also the future of your business. SEO, the efforts that you put in won't disappear. It's just, the effort will get bigger and bigger. SEO will help you reach further and further. Next generation search engines, for example, are predicted to be powered by deep neural networks and machine learning, and will explode in the market. The market value they're predicting is around 15 billion. It was 15 billion in 2019 and to be over 55 billion in 2025. So the crucial elements of SEO, we've already met all the reasons why SEO is crucial to your business. Now it's time to get to know all the essential elements of a good SEO strategy that you can begin as soon as possible. How am I doing for time? Okay, so what are SEO tools? So SEO tools provide data and alerts about the overall health and success of your website. They help uncover areas of opportunity and identify weaknesses or issues that may prevent you from ranking and earning visibility in search engine result pages. Just as actual tools, each have a specific role. The same is true in SEO. There are SEO tools that can help you with analytics, keyword research, links, local SEO, mobile SEO, on-page SEO, doing research, checking your rank, checking your website site speed, WordPress SEO, even being specific. These tools are extremely and incredibly useful, but you need to understand how to use them to get the most out of them, obviously. There are even a few tool sets that can help you in more than one of the areas I've just mentioned above, giving you kind of like an all-in-one performance view of how you're doing. Let's dig into some of those. So obviously Google Analytics, again, all of these tools are free. Google My Business, Google Keyword Planner, Google SEO tools, like Page Speed, Google Ads, Google Search Console, Google Analytics. And depending on how your website is set up, most of the websites during your build will ask for some kind of data from these tools. So Google Analytics on its own is a seriously invaluable resource that is virtually indispensable to any digital marketing plan or company that is serious about SEO. It provides a plethora of handy data about websites, how many people visited your website, your traffic sources, your location, your demographics. With all this added detailed information that Google Analytics provides, this allows you to tweak your content, tweak your strategy and figure out what works and what doesn't for your website, your business. Google Search Console, and I've spoken a lot about this tool. Aside from the fact that its data comes from Google Search Console is rich with insights related to your keywords, your URL performance, your indexing issues, if your page is potentially not mobile friendly, your mobile usability, sitemap, and so much more. And again, I've got links inside this presentation that you guys can click through to get yourself started on any one of these tools. And there are plenty more of tools out there. The course that I'm giving out at the end in the handouts is actually from a website that does a lot of SEO, and all the links in that course in the PDF link back to that website, and they've got tools to help you view and understand your Google Analytics in more of a layman's terms, because it connects to the analytics, your account, your Google Analytics account, and it does a lot of the research for you. So SEMrush, Ahrefs, and the likes are pretty good tools to help you with get things started. I have a link in the presentation that's refers to searchenginejournal.com, and it's got a list of the top 3 SEO tools. And obviously you can have a read up on the tools and decide which one will work best for you. So a quick view on the strategy, an SEO strategy. Here's a 12-month template. These are the things that you can kind of do. You can stick it into a spreadsheet, a Word document, and kind of use this as a base and a plan on the things that you need to do to get things going. So in a nutshell, it's basically implement, monitor, plan, implement again. It's a washing machine. So you create something, put it out there, see how it works, come back. If it works, do it again if it really works. If you find things are missing, you go back into the technical SEO stuff and check your web page, everything's set up correctly, do your page insights review, your page speeds test, and remediate all the problems you potentially find. And that's a constant thing. If you do these things on a monthly basis, it helps with SEO in the long run. I'm not sure if I've run out of time, but that is me. Are there any questions?
Nothing in the chat box.
Does that make sense?
Hi, I just want to ask a quick question. Sorry, I'll put my video
Sure.
on. I just want to understand better when I'm labeling pictures, because you said put a title and a description. Or
Yes.
maybe I misunderstood you. So, I mean, how long can it be? You've got what, a JPEG? Also, sorry, well, this is actually the second part, because I'm just thinking, is it best to upload JPEGs or PNGs, which is better to use? And then also how to label it and how long can one go? Like, how many words are you talking about?
So I'm going to use WordPress as an example. So if you have a WordPress website, when you log into the back of your WordPress website, there is a media folder. If you go into that media folder, you obviously see all the images that you've uploaded onto your website. If you click on one of those pictures, it opens a new page, and on the right-hand side, it says to you, image title, and then it's got alt title, and it'll have description, and you can type that information in there. So what you got to think about is, if you go do a search on Google and you have a look at the results that Google shows you, there's 160 characters in the description of any Google search result page. So whatever link pops up, you'll have a title, you'll have the website address, and you'll have a little description there. That description is 160 characters. The title, have a look at the title you see on any one of your search results, and you can kind of see where the ... comes in. That title is obviously too long. So you want to try and keep your title down to between 35 and 60 characters.
Okay, and you also said an alt title. What goes there?
Yes. So the alt title is the one that shows up on the search results. The title could be whatever you name the picture. So it'll be picture1.png or picture1.jpg. That'll be the title. The alt title will be, this is a picture of a pink tacky from my website.
Okay, and what's, sorry.
Using image formats, I mean, there's many different formats, and it depends what you're using it for. The most common image format on websites these days is PNG. If you're trying to speed up your website, there's SVG, and there's a few other options, but those are probably the two most common. JPEG is not a bad thing. It just doesn't render and resize as nicely as a PNG does. So you got to think about where you want your picture to be seen: mobile, tablet, PC.
Okay, no, thank you. That's good advice, because I actually have been saving as JPEGs and not PNGs. I only did PNGs if I needed it to be transparent.
Yes, I mean, that obviously removes a lot of the size as well, but it keeps the quality.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Any other questions before I hand back to Tracy? Fabulous. Thanks, everybody. Sorry for all of those that
Renato, well, thank you so much. It's been an amazing hour and a half, and I know that a couple of people messaged me they lost connectivity at 10 a.m. So I will send them all the slide deck. Your content is amazing. Your slides are magnificent, and there's a reason that you are the best digital marketer we know. And it's been amazing having you with us this morning. You always bring such energy, enthusiasm, professionalism, and a host of knowledge to your webinars. We're so grateful to you. Thank you.
Very welcome.
So before we close off today, I'm going to launch another poll, a donation poll. And please, if you can, make a donation to AutoJet. No, that is, okay, so I'm having a technical issue. Let me get myself polls.
Seems to be technical issue day for both of us.
Yeah, because Tamia lost power at the office and then her laptop froze. So I'm not going to launch it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a link in the post-webinar communication. If anyone would then like to make a donation, please do so, and we would greatly appreciate that. In terms of the AutoJet program, we have an incredible webinar this evening with Leonard Carr at 7:30 p.m. I encourage you all to join us. It's how to work with children in the new world of work. And this is for parents, educators, as well as the youth whom we are encouraging to join us tonight. So I will see you all this evening online. I thank you all for your time. Thank you for being interactive, asking questions. And I know that the value that we each take out of today's webinar, you cannot put a price on. So Renato, I thank you so much. I look forward to working with you again really soon, and have a good rest of the day, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you, Renata. We will chat and we will see what's coming up for everyone.
Cool.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.